You are listening to the Beyond the High Road podcast with Shelby Milford, episode number 20. Stay tuned. Well, hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 15th of February, the day after Valentine's Day. So happy belated Valentine's Day to everybody. This is not going to be the subject for today, but I did get several messages and texts and even a voice message from different clients throughout the day yesterday. And most of my clients had the same sort of sentiments as it relates to Valentine's Day and what Valentine's Day means to them. Most of them said that, as with all of the holidays, even little ones, that they would normally be gifting their children with little surprises in their lunch or, just little treats. And so this year, this is somewhat new in the last few years that they have been experiencing alienation. And they, of course, were missing having the opportunity to do those things. And so I understand. I, too, remember doing those special things for my daughter. I will say that the one thing that saves me now, in the teen years, they don't necessarily appreciate those things as they did when they were in elementary school or middle school. Even middle school is a little questionable. I still would have done the things, but I probably would have just gotten an eye roll if it were to truly be happening in real time, these days. So I tried to remind some of the people that I spoke with yesterday the same. We do one of the two things. We either catastrophize or we romanticize when we're thinking back on our past. And so in cases that we wish something still was, we often will romanticize that and build it up, right? Which is, I think, a great skill, okay? But also, if that skill is not necessarily helping you in the moment, like when you're feeling sad and life isn't fair, life isn't right, these things aren't right, then I think it's helpful to remind yourself, oh yeah, well, they probably would just roll their eyes now if your kid is in the double digit years anyway. So I just wanted to offer that to you because sometimes we get caught up in thinking about how things were, but we don't remind ourselves that too, things even absent of experiencing the effects of alienation, things wouldn't be the way they were a few years ago because they wouldn't be the way they were a few years ago. Even in a perfect world, right? They would be maybe not grown up, but grown by some years, and things would be different anyway. So I think just like adding little doses of reality in is super helpful for things like that. That was just a little tidbit, little tip. Actually, this comes up for me when I feel like, I don't know if I shared this with you guys or not, but oftentimes when I go to like Target or, I'm out shopping, out and about, like a Nordstrom or something like that, and I see a mom with their kiddos, like their young kiddos, especially like diaper age, of course, but like any age really, but like elementary school especially and lower, right? Younger. I will get really sad still all the time. But I have to remind myself too that I would probably be sad too if my daughter was living with me looking at a little one, right? Because things are just different. They grow up and things are just not the same way as, they were when she was in her diapers. Because it's always sad when our children stop needing us, right? But that's also ultimately what we want them to do. We want to be able to raise them in ways that they can go off and into the world and stop needing us, right? So it's sort of like a catch-2 there. So, and also let me just offer you guys too that many of you have raised your children for a lot of the single digit years. And so I will say that how fortunate they are that they did have you as a very active caregiver, if you were the sole caregiver for such formative years. And so I think it's just always so good to look at what you did have, right? And what you still do have, but when you're looking at like time spent, like if I was going to pick any of the years, I'm glad that I spent the ones that I did with her. And who knows, this is not even the middle of mine and my daughter's book together, our story together. So I know that there are years to come. It's just always helpful for me to look at it that way, sort of like I was talking about last week about perspective. So anyway, hopefully your Valentine's Day was peaceful. Okay, let's dig in to the episode. So I really want to very soon do an episode on finding your purpose, okay? But before I can even touch purpose, we need to first talk about your worthiness. Because without the worthiness, the purpose will be muddled up, okay? So in this episode, just know that I will be sort of jumping back and forth into my experience with trying to find purpose and then back into worthiness and what have you. But I won't fully address finding your purpose until a later episode. Okay, cool. A few years ago, before I switched over to the mental health side of coaching and found life coaching as my path, I did a deep dive into finding my purpose. The alienation strategies had already started, years before that, but my governing emotion was feeling incomplete. I felt that way really my whole life, but I didn't have the consciousness to really know that until I started to do all of this healing work on myself. And so I remember reading book after book and audible book after audible book, doing this soul searching and journaling and trying to figure out what the fuck my purpose was. I knew there had to be this like rainbows and angels singing and puppy dogs bouncing on clouds and the whole bit. Like I just really truly thought that once I found my purpose, it would all fit together and things would be lovely and beautiful and all of that. But I will tell you folks, it didn't happen that way. I mean, I can't even tell you how many hours in total that I actually spent on this, just in search of purpose. And I would read through, I would skim through books, buy them on Amazon, get them, and then just skim through all the books to check and see if the author was going to give me a formula to find my purpose. I needed the formula. That was super important for me. I knew that there was a formula out there. There was a test I could take. There was some, survey that would point me to the right thing. I mean, I did Myers-Briggs, I did Big Five, I did all of the aptitude tests or whatever they are, and still came back. Well, actually I will say that one of them just sort of reinforced my beliefs already about me, about what I was good at. I already knew the things that I was good at and what I wanted to believe would be my purpose. I already knew that. And as a side note, I will just say, thinking about it now, no matter if somebody would have told me that I was going to do the exact thing that I'm doing, if I didn't already believe it then, no test or I don't care, a genie in a bottle could have come out and told me I was going to do my purpose, XYZ, and I wouldn't have believed them then because I already had it in the deep down inside of me, what I wanted. So I was looking for, we talk about confirmation bias. That is exactly, I wanted somebody to tell me what I already knew. Right. And I didn't want to entertain anything else. Even though I kept saying that I was open, I know I wouldn't have believed if anybody told me something that wasn't already in me. But anyway, live and learn, because what I'm saying right now, I would never have believed back then. Because back then I wanted to believe that somebody else had the answer for me. Right? Really what I wanted was somebody else to approve of my purpose. So I read all these books, did all these tests, did all the things, all the surveys, and it all came back to the same thing. And that was that my purpose was inside of me, and nobody could tell me what that purpose was except for me. Also, what I didn't know then that I know now is that until I began to feel worthy, then my idea of my purpose would be clouded. Because what I had made my life mean until that point, and I assume that this could be happening for you as well, is that I needed to accomplish A or B or C to get to that place where I would be serving purpose, that I would be making a difference, that I would be on the right path. Any of that language, that if you use anything similar to that, then this episode might be good for you to sort of regroup and come to terms with your own worthiness and the idea of your purpose. So the definition of purpose is the reason why something exists. That is purpose. And so we as humans, those that are searching for our purpose, tend to think that until we find what that purpose is, that we are lost, that our life is being wasted, that all of this time spent is just spent spinning, and all of this effort is just meaningless. We tend to measure our lives by the standards of everybody else. From the time that we're young, we'll compare ourselves to the people in our immediate surroundings, the people in our school, our friends, what grades so-and-so got, what grades you got, what so-and-so's parents allowed them to do. We're always comparing ourselves to one another. And humans tend to think that once we get somewhere to whatever goal that we set for ourselves, then we'll have arrived, right? When I get my driver's license, I will be happy then. Life will be better. My life will have meaning and purpose and blah, 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 right? And then when we get to the driver's license, it was something else, right? After that, you just want to be a senior then, because then you are, at the top of the class and everybody looks up to you. And then when you're a senior, it's college. Then you will truly know what your purpose is, and you'll feel like you're purposeful, and, you'll fit into society, and it goes on and on. From college, it's either go to work or you have children. And then once you have children, that is your purpose. And here we sit after having children and thinking our lives were supposed to go a certain way. And then for that not to be happening, it can be catastrophic for us. Coming to the realization that, oh shit, I thought the meaning of life was to have kids. This meant that we were successful in family and relationships. Maybe you had a work purpose too, if you are or were career oriented. We think that if we get to a certain spot, whether it's corporate or you're an entrepreneur, if we have to be successful at it in order for that to be our purpose. That's another added element of pressure that we put on ourselves. Not only do we need to find our purpose, but we need to be damn good at it too. And it needs to be effortless. These are all these extra rules that we put on ourselves to be successful at life, to be purposeful, to be worth something. Right? This is how we think. And so no wonder we're constantly feeling exhausted or like we just can't reach the summit. We're almost there. We can never catch a break, And so after alienation happens, and especially if either your children do not live in your home anymore or that is being threatened at this moment, because they do not reside with us, we feel like we failed at life, at our purpose, at living up to their expectations, whoever they is, our own expectations too. So we feel that we are less worthy. You may not say that out loud, but oftentimes this is what's going on. If this chase is happening with you, if you are thinking, I failed, like what now? I don't have a purpose. And so many of us, I know I felt like that for so long. Like I was saying, I was on this search, this hunt, this chase to find my purpose. And so when my kiddo was all of a sudden up and gone, I was like, oh shit. Not only am I grieving in this intense sadness and pain for my child, so much is going on there, right? You have this pain you're feeling for your child, and then you have your own pain about missing your child. And then on top of that, we all of a sudden feel less worthy. We feel less relevant. Our input matters less. We matter less, right? And this is what the person who is alienating your kiddo would probably love for you to believe, that you matter less, right? But it is so very far from the truth. I can't even tell you. Here's why. Because you are worthy right now. I do not care what colossal fuck-ups that you might have done. It does not matter. You, sitting where you are, listening to this, you are 100% worthy. Not because you did anything good, not because you did anything particularly bad, not because you were born into a family of worthiness, not because of something that your father or mother did before you were alive. It's not for any reason other than the fact that you were born. You are worthy 100% for that reason alone. You are 100% perfect, absolutely beautifully crafted, fantastically made as you sit right here with me. There is not one thing that you could do to become more worthy. Nothing. I don't care if you cured cancer. This would not make you any more or less worthy than you are right now in this moment. And here's what's sometimes a little bit more difficult to swallow. Stay with me here. Is that not only are you 100% worthy, so is somebody that alienates a child from the other parent. They are also 100% worthy. It's not the point of this episode, but I think it's essential to understand, because if you can understand somebody else being worthy, somebody that you would maybe not necessarily want to be 100% worthy, when you can understand and sort of fully let that sink in, then you can also accept your own worthiness, because we're our hardest on ourselves truly when we're quiet, right? So you might say, well, they have done some really awful things to me. They have done awful things as a human being, right? They meaning either the alienator or some other perpetrator in your life, okay? Somebody that maybe abused you or hurt you in some way that you are still holding on to, okay? But they are just as worthy as you or me or the next person, or Mother Teresa or the Pope or whoever it is that you idolize. Think of like the most accomplished, amazing, serene idol that you might have in your life. Somebody that you hold to a high standard. Like, oh my gosh, if only I could get to where they are. You and they are the same. You are their equal. We are all equally as worthy. So there is nothing that you can do or say or any string of accomplishments that you can put together that will make you worth more than you already are by existing, okay? That is it. So when you strip it back to that all you have to do on this earth is exist, is to be here on this planet. And put one foot in front of the other. You don't even have to put one foot in front of the other if you don't want to. Your life is perfect as it is without you doing a damn thing except existing. And my teacher, Brooke Castillo, says, and you don't even have to do that. You have a choice not to exist. Now, is that a viable choice in my mind? I don't think so, because the only reason that we would ever choose to not exist is because we are trying to eliminate pain. But you know that as soon as you move through that part of the pain and face it without trying to resist it, relief comes, right? I think it's Eckhart Tolle that says suffering is the way to our consciousness. We all have to go through some sort of pain. That is almost a non-negotiable. In order to grow, we need discomfort, okay? But for the sake of worthiness, it is absolute. Nobody, nothing can take it away from you or make it more substantial than it already is. You are worthy because you exist. And I'll go a step further and say that as a human, your purpose is existing. That is your purpose, to live and breathe. I'm going to say it again because I don't think anybody could ever say it enough. You are worthy because you exist, and your whole purpose is to exist as a human. That's it. That's all you have to do. No matter what you have been brought up to believe about what you need to do to be important or to be more relevant or to be more whatever, it's not the truth. That's a lie. It's a lie that you and I in society believes, okay? So when you strip all of the other expectations away from who you think you're supposed to be and what is successful and what is not, and I lost my kid is not around anymore, so I've lost my purpose, remind yourself that your purpose is solely to be present and to live another day, to put one foot forward and then the next and then the next. So then you don't have to be chasing some goal or some purpose or something that you might have before thought was going to make you or your life more important than it already is. Your life is just as important as the next person, no matter what you decide to do with it. No matter what, okay? No matter what the alienator says about how replaceable you are or any of that, no matter what your child or children says, your purpose has already been fulfilled. You are fulfilling it right now in this moment, okay? So when you get there and know that, truly feel that, then you're not searching for your worthiness anymore, masked as searching for your purpose. Do you know what I'm saying? Then you can really ask yourself, as you've stripped everything away, there's no pressure on you to be a certain somebody or do a certain something or act in the way or get some certain sort of recognition from anybody, right? When all of that is taken away, none of that matters. Then you can ask yourself what it is and who it is that you want to be. Like knowing that your worthiness is already 100% there and nobody can take that from you. What do you want to do with your life? And let me add that you do not have to have just one purpose. You can have many purposes, but take away the thought or the idea that there's any sort of credit or extra credit at the end once you've completed it. Nothing will make you more important than you are sitting here right now. Nothing. Nobody else can be the judge of that. So from that place, then you can truly get to the answer that's inside of you. What you want to do for now as your purpose. Because it's not about what you want to be in life. It's who you are being, how you're showing up on the day-to-day, the hour-to-hour basis. That's what matters. And it doesn't matter for your worthiness. It matters for your experience on this earth, okay? You can live your life however you want to. You can live it in consciousness or seeking consciousness, right? Going through the suffering and living it in being conscious and being aware and being present with intention. Or you can live it completely unconsciously too. I have a feeling though, if you're listening to this podcast, that once you've gotten on the road to consciousness, there's no looking back. Just letting you guys know that. Once you have started to seek it out, that's it. You're done for. But no matter what you do, doesn't matter. It matters how you feel. It matters on the inside for you. There is no judge. I don't care who says, parents, all of everybody else's expectations, they don't fucking matter. Strip it all away and truly look at it. And when you live from that place of it doesn't matter, the expectations that your dad has on you, the expectations that your mom or that your siblings or your boss or the alienator or your children, none of those things matter, because guess what? Those things are ever changing, just like our own expectations for ourselves. But when we live in our worthiness, then we can truly live from a place of authenticity and follow our hearts where we want to go from there, how we want to show up in this world, because all that matters is your interpretation and you can create whatever you want, okay? So that's all I have for you today is that, and we will visit purpose more fully in a later episode. But I think that this worthiness thing, because I think we just so often we mix the two up and we're constantly searching for purpose in our life, but really we're searching for our worthiness. And we think that the purpose is going to get us there. And it never does, folks. Finding purpose, you're chasing something that doesn't exist, right? It's a fruitless venture there. Searching for the purpose, right? Now your worthiness, on the other hand, that is worth diving into and discovering for yourself. So, okay, guys, have a wonderful week.
Welcome to Beyond the High Road, a podcast dedicated to healing your heart and life following the grief of alienation. I'm your host, Shelby Milford, a twice certified life coach specializing in post-traumatic growth. I'm also a target parent who felt like my identity in this world left me on the very same day that my sweet child did. After hitting my emotional bottom, I devoted the next 6 years to research and personal growth. Using proven concepts based heavily in neuroscience and psychology, I developed my own playbook for reintegrating with life and reframing my role as my daughter's mother in the midst of living apart from her. I went from feeling agonized, helpless, and directionless to feeling energized, confident, and most importantly, at peace. Today, I get to help other parents like you to do the same. If you're experiencing the effects of alienation and you're ready to heal, then this show is my love letter to you. Stay tuned.
Thanks so much for listening today, guys. I'm honored that you chose to share your time with me. If you like what you've been hearing and you want more, come join me in the new monthly membership, where we take the concepts that you hear about here and using a logical framework, you learn to apply them to your specific situations, upgrading your thoughts and your life, even while experiencing the grief of alienation. For more information, go to beyondthehighroad.com. See you soon.